streamline, organize, and grow your business. Welcome to the One Organized Business podcast. My name is Alaia Williams, and I'm your host. Thanks for joining me. Find past episodes, show notes, and business building resources by visiting oneorganizedbusiness.com. Let's jump right into today's episode. Systems are the backbone of your business. And if you are trying to be an organized business owner, an organized leader, you need systems. The fact of the matter is, you probably already have systems in place. Now, whether they're the right systems or good systems or functioning systems is another issue altogether. A lot of people I talk to often think, I have no systems, nothing's working, and usually that's not the case. If you're starting your business from scratch, if you're in a place right now where you want to launch a business, then yes, it's likely that you may not have any systems. But if your business is up and running, there may be some systems you have in place that were folded in so organically that you don't really think about it. And there's nothing wrong with that. If systems are working the way they should and humming along the way they're supposed to, oftentimes you won't be thinking about them. And that's a good thing. Usually, we only think about our systems when something goes wrong, or when we're overwhelmed, when something breaks, or something of that nature, right? There's some kind of problem, there's some kind of struggle, and sometimes it can be a good problem. A lot of the people I work with are established business owners with healthy, growing businesses. And the reason they work with me or seek out someone else who can help them with systems, processes, organization is because they've hit a point where they're working really inefficiently, or they can't take any more on if they continue to work the way that they're working. They're doing a lot of things manually, or they're spending a lot of time on things that could be delegated to either another person or to some kind of automated system. So you could be anywhere in your business journey and you need systems. People ask me, how soon should I get systems in place? When's a good time to start thinking about it? And realistically, I think you should start thinking about systems before you even launch your business. You don't need a bunch of systems. You don't need anything expensive or complex. You don't need a long list of things. But there are some key things that you can have in place that will just make your life a whole lot easier. A financial system, a calendar, things like that. As you grow and develop your business and learn more about how being in business in general, what that means, what that's like, and what kinds of systems you need for your own business, the list of systems you have will grow, or the list of systems that you need will grow. So there's no rush to figure it all out at once or to implement everything at once, but the sooner you start, the sooner you get your feet wet, the better. And when you do have systems in place, it's easier to implement others. If you have an invoicing system in place, for example, and you love it, it is the backbone of your business, everyone on your team loves it, your clients love it, then that's something to keep in mind when you're looking to integrate other systems into your business, because you'll want to look for things that integrate really well and seamlessly with the things you already love. You don't have to rewrite everything from scratch as you implement more systems in your business. Now, all of that said, there are a lot of systems to choose from. There are tons of ways to systemize your business. You can put systems in place for pretty much anything in your business. And that can be an overwhelming prospect, especially if you have little to no systems in place and you're not even sure where to start. So in this episode, I wanted to walk you through what I consider to be the 5 essential systems that every small business needs. The actual tools may vary, and I'll rattle off a few names, and in the show notes for this episode, you can find links to some of my recommended systems. There are tons of options in every category, and it's important to pick the systems that work for you. But regardless of what you think, these are the categories of systems that every small business should have. The first one is a calendar. And that's most likely the one that you have already or have had the most experience with. Now, you can go digital or analog with your calendar, or you can do both. I'm a fan of both. I use paper planners, but I also have online calendars. I highly recommend both, but you don't have to do both. Having a calendar is essential. Stop trying to remember everything in your head. You can sometimes get away with it if you have a day job and know where you need to be from 9 to 5, your job tasks are pretty much the same, or, there's some internal system at the company you work at that helps you keep track of what you need to do and where you need to be. But once you have a business, you're going to be juggling a lot of things. You're going to be serving clients and customers, developing products and services, marketing, admin, financial. And if you're starting out, it's quite possible that you're doing everything yourself, or you have a really small team, and so you're wearing multiple hats. So a calendar really comes in handy because it allows you to not have to remember every place you need to be, every appointment that you need to keep. So get a calendar, use your calendar, put all of your appointments in your calendar. And it sounds really basic, I know, but a lot of people don't do this. They have planners and they don't use them. They have Google Calendar and yet they don't have appointments in there. Use the tools you have. A calendar is one of the cheapest ones you can get on the list that I'm going to go through today. But, Google Calendar, free. If you're using G Suite for a branded email address, you're paying a small fee for the whole suite of services, your calendar, your docs, all of that, but it's well worth it. If you use Outlook or have a Mac, you have built-in calendars. So there are plenty of options, but get a calendar and use it. And if you're a fan of paper planners, there are tons of planners out there. You can check out the Next 12 Months planners, which are the planners that I created, but there are also a host of other great planners for small business owners. So in the show notes, I will also link to my roundup of best planners for small business owners. So first system you should have is a calendar. And I highly recommend an electronic calendar in addition to a paper calendar, particularly because if you decide to do more advanced things like online schedulers really don't work unless they're connected with your calendar. They're kind of pointless unless they're connected with your calendar. So if you're thinking that you want to automate your scheduling in any way, definitely sign up for something like Google Calendar, or if you already have it, use it. All right, done and done. System number 1. Number 2, a contact management system, or CRM. You might see this called customer relationship management, contact management. I prefer to call it contact relationship management because I keep more than my customers in there. I mainly use my CRM to track my prospects. I set up my sales funnel, and anytime someone indicates that they're interested in working with me, I drop their information into my CRM. And that allows me to track where each of these prospects are in my sales funnel. And this is important because, again, if you are wearing multiple hats in your business like I am, and you're busy serving clients and customers, developing products and services, but also actively trying to get more business, you don't want to let opportunities slip through the cracks. And that's where CRMs can be a real lifesaver. I have often told the story of, I believe the year was 2015. It was January 2015, and I had about 17 prospects at one time. that has never happened before, and I'm not trying to brag. It has never happened since. Hopefully it happens again one day. But for some reason that month, I had been sent a ton of word of mouth referrals. There were people coming to me as a result of marketing that I was doing, and I had 17 prospects at one time. And I was able to keep up with all of them. And I really credit that to my CRM. Obviously, it's me using the system, but not having to create a system from scratch and remembering things on my own and being able to rely on my CRM was huge. And ultimately, by spring, I had signed 10 of those 17 prospects. And one of them in particular even said to me, I really appreciate you following up with me. I'm so impressed with how you've been able to follow up and how you're following up exactly when you said you would. And again, there's some credit to me for using the system, just like you should take credit when you use yours. But by relying on my CRM and putting the client notes in there and putting follow-up reminders for when the client said they were interested in hearing from me again, I never had to remember that this person wanted to be contacted again in 6 weeks. It was in my CRM, and when that 6-week mile marker came up, I was on it and I followed up with that person. And eventually, she became a client. And I have stories like that along the way, but I particularly remember that part of 2015 because I was tracking so many prospects and really relied on my system to help me grow. And I had used CRMs before, but that for me was really the time when they proved their worth, and I will never look back. I love to talk about CRMs, and when I started doing this talk around the 5 essential systems for small business owners, it was in 2015, and it was right after this period of time because it dramatically changed my business. I mean, my income shot up, of course, got all those clients. I was doing business in a different way, in a better way. And so I love to talk about CRMs. I could talk about CRMs all day, and we will be doing a CRM series on the One Organized Business podcast. So you can learn a lot more about CRMs and hopefully fall in love with them. Maybe not as deeply as me, but hopefully you will not fear or hate CRMs after listening to those episodes. I really encourage you to get one and try it out. Now, there are a few ways you can do that. If you have a project management tool, which we'll talk about a little bit later, some project management tools can be hacked to be contact management systems. Some people do that. It's not my preferred method, but it can be done. I'll talk about that a little bit later. You can also choose an all-in-one type of service that covers a lot of these essential system areas that I'm talking about. Some examples would be 17 Hats or Dubsado, which is my preferred system and one that I use in my business, where Dubsado has some CRM functionality. You can track leads and clients. You can send contracts, invoices, do time tracking, create proposals. You can do a whole host of things in it. So you can kind of hack a project management system to be a CRM. You can use an all-in-one management tool like Dubsado, or you can get a dedicated CRM. I'm currently using SalesMate. I'm a big fan of Contactually. HubSpot has a great free CRM. There are a lot of options out there. Even though I use Dubsado in my business, as I mentioned, I still use a dedicated CRM because I am super into CRMs and their power. And I currently use SalesMate, and I love it because I'm able to set up my sales funnel and see it visually and plop my prospects in at whatever stage they're at in my sales funnel and move them along in the process. And what this does, it's not just an exercise for fun. It gives me insight into my business. If I go into my CRM, which I do every day, and I look at where all my prospects fall in the funnel, it gives me insight into where my business is working, where it's not working, where I can smooth out processes, where people tend to get stuck or stalled. So if a lot of people are contacting me, but no one is signing up for, a growth chat or an introductory session, where's the disconnect there? Or if I'm conducting the introductory sessions and creating proposals, but clients aren't signing on, what's the disconnect there? What does that tell me about my business? If I'm creating, contracts and invoices for my client and they're not taking the final step of signing on, again, what's the disconnect there? So my CRM gives me insight into how my business is working. And also with SalesMate and with a lot of other dedicated CRMs, you're able to set goals and forecast your income. So if I'm placing a value on every prospective deal, whether it's a package or a one-off session or a retainer client, my CRM in the background is creating reports for me and helping me project my income. So if I think that a deal is going to be signed in February, and I put that information in my CRM, I can get a forecast of what my income might be in February or what it might be for the next quarter or for the year as a whole. So CRMs tell me a lot about my business. And as good as Dubsado and some of the other all-in-one tools are, they're not as detailed in terms of the CRM functionality as a dedicated CRM is. And so that's why I use both. But if you don't need all that detail, you're not interested in all that detail, or it just doesn't matter to you at this stage and you want to get your feet wet, all-in-one tools are great. And I highly recommend Dubsado. If you do want to play around with a dedicated CRM, use any of the ones that I mentioned. And like I said, SalesMate is the one I use right now for my business. All right, so you've got your calendar, your CRM, which, by the way, you can integrate the two. A lot of these systems integrate. Number 3 is you need a financial tool. And again, this is an area where you might have one all-in-one tool, or you might have a couple of different things. And a lot of the systems, most of the systems on this list of 5, you can easily have an analog or digital version. I talked about that in the calendar section. CRMs, same thing. Some people just write a list of prospects down. You can do that. Some people keep their list of prospects in a spreadsheet. You can do that. I prefer, like I said, to use something like Dubsado or SalesMate to manage things and automate processes and reminders and workflows and all that good stuff. Now, when it comes to financial systems, this is the one area out of this list of 5 where I don't recommend that you do things manually. You can do manually as a backup. In the next 12 months planner, for example, there are sales logs and expense sheets, and I always write in there, but that's not my financial hub. For example, in the next 12 months planner, I have sales logs and expense logs, and I use those, but they're not my primary financial hub. There are so many great tools that have been created to help you keep track of your finances and automate financial reporting that I really don't recommend that you do things manually. If you use one of these automated systems and you use them properly, you will save yourself a ton of time and also cut down on a lot of potential errors. So, of course, I highly recommend that you have an invoicing tool and that you stop creating invoices in Excel and Word. There are some free invoicing tools out there, and I have to be honest, I don't know what a lot of them are anymore because I rarely recommend them. I believe that Xero and Wave have low cost and free options, and people are big fans of those. So those are a couple of options that you can definitely explore. I was a FreshBooks customer for a very long time. I think it was probably 5 or 6 years, maybe longer. It's a great tool. The customer service is great. I know people who personally work for the company now and have in the past, and you will be in great hands with FreshBooks. So I highly recommend them. And I also really recommend QuickBooks. If you are an independent contractor, a freelancer, QuickBooks Self-Employed is a really awesome tool that's really affordable. It offers expense tracking, invoicing, mileage tracking, which is really important. So if you have a smartphone and iPhone, Android, you can download the app and track your miles automatically so you can make sure you're capturing those write-offs. And because it is a QuickBooks product, it's doing those reports for you. So you'll have your expense reports, not your like detailed expense reports that you would like submit to a boss per se, but your list of expenses for tax purposes. And you'll have your balance sheets and profit and loss, stuff like that. So it makes reporting really easy. I hate that stuff. And so I rely on QuickBooks Self-Employed to take care of that for me. And it makes it really easy. And if you're the kind of person who also uses TurboTax, you can get a plan for just a couple bucks more per month that will include the cost of TurboTax along with it. So you'll actually save on buying TurboTax separately. And the tool is really easy to use, really easy to set up. And so even if you're using something else for invoicing, like I said, I do my invoices through Dubsado. I still have all my bank accounts, my PayPal account, my credit cards hooked up to QuickBooks Self-Employed. So everything is getting integrated, pulled in, and categorized for me. So it's my financial reporting tool. And if you're not using something like Dubsado, you could absolutely use QuickBooks Self-Employed for your invoicing. It's great. It's easy to use. And, if you have more complex needs, QuickBooks Self-Employed is definitely for the one-person company. But if you pay a lot of contractors, if you have employees, if you have a ton of inventory to manage, or you need something more customizable, you can get QuickBooks Online, which is full-fledged QuickBooks, but still very easy to set up and is kind of the gold standard when it comes to accounting tools. Pretty much any accountant you hire knows how to use it and uses it. Bookkeepers are familiar with it. And so you may not be the primary person dealing with it come tax time, but you have an easy way to keep your finances organized and pass that off to your accountant. And accountants love that. They want you to be organized, and it saves you money to be organized. So have a financial tool in place. And again, you can go with an all-in-one tool like a Dubsado or 17 Hats that has invoicing and some bookkeeping. Dubsado is great because if you are using QuickBooks Online, not QuickBooks Self-Employed, but one of the higher-end QuickBooks Online packages, Dubsado connects with that. So again, there's a lot of integrations and things that you can do that make things really seamless on the back end. But again, on the financial side, go automated. And there are some great tools: Xero, Wave, FreshBooks, QuickBooks Self-Employed, QuickBooks Online. Big fan of those tools. They will really help you out. And it's really, really important to organize your financial life. And we'll talk about that in other episodes of the podcast. And I'm not a financial expert, so I will be inviting some financial experts on to join me. But what I do know is systems, and what I do know is organization. And so I'm really encouraging you, if you haven't done it already, to take the step to organize your financial life. And if you're just getting started, organize it from the start. It will make your life a heck of a lot easier. So we've got our calendar, our CRM, our financial tools. Next up, marketing. So when it comes to marketing, there's not a certain list that I recommend you check off when it comes to getting your systems. What matters more is the kind of marketing that you plan to do, the kind of marketing you want to do. If you're planning to do social media marketing, I firmly believe that a lot of it should be organic and feel real, because people can tell now. They're savvy. They don't want to talk to robots. They don't want to talk to anyone automated. They want to get to know you and what you're like. But there are definitely aspects of your social media marketing that you can automate and that makes sense to automate. And so if you want to do that, then you're probably going to want a social media scheduling tool. And there are tons out there that vary in price from low end to very expensive. My favorite of all time is Sprout Social. I don't use it because it's way more expensive now than it was when I started, and I definitely regret canceling it. I signed on when they were brand new, and I was only paying $10 a month, and I made the mistake of canceling, and during that time, they jumped to $30 a month, and now they're at about $60 per month per user. So it just doesn't make sense for my business, and it doesn't make sense for a lot of my clients' businesses. But if you do have money to invest there, and social media is really important for your business's growth, Sprout Social is definitely a great tool to check out. Other popular social media schedulers include Hootsuite, Buffer. I currently use Social Pilot, and for last year, I kind of went back and forth between Social Pilot and eClincher. I couldn't decide which one I liked more, but when I was managing social media for several different clients who didn't have their own schedulers, I actually used eClincher because I really liked their agency plan. But once I started to have more clients that had their own social media tools that they liked, I ended up switching back to Social Pilot to manage my own social media, and it's very affordable. So there are a lot of great tools out there for that. But even more importantly than that, the one thing I would recommend for any and every business is an email marketing tool. If you are going to be sending emails of a marketing nature, you need an email marketing tool. You need to comply with spam laws, or rather anti-spam laws, I guess, which are getting stricter every year. They're stricter in Canada than they are in the US, but it's quite possible that you have someone Canadian on your list, or maybe you are Canadian. Either way, you want to make sure that you're complying with laws and that the people on your list have opted into your list, meaning they want to be on your email list. They want to hear from you, and you need to give them an easy way to unsubscribe. Don't make people jump through hoops to get off your list. That is a fast way to piss people off, burn bridges, get yourself reported for spam, and more. And some people don't think that people marking them as spam does anything, but it really does. One of my first clients that I managed email marketing for back in maybe 2008 was dead set on uploading a list to her Constant Contact account that she purchased. I warned her and her husband against it. They still wanted to do it, and they were quickly kicked off of Constant Contact because they had so many bounces and spam complaints that Constant Contact in one shot said, all right, you need to download your list and get off our service. And the reason that email marketing companies are really strict about spam is because when you send out spam, it hurts all of their customers. And so that's not a good thing because that will hurt their bottom line. Deliverability is really important. So these companies don't play around. So in order to not piss them off or any potential customers, you want to make sure that the people on your list want to be on your list and that they have an easy way to get off your list when they no longer want to be on it. And just because they opt out of your emails doesn't mean they'll never do business with you. It may be harder to keep in touch with them, but if they really want to do business with you, they'll know how to find you. And you don't need people on your list who don't want to hear from you and don't want to do business with you. So if there is an essential in the marketing category, I definitely think it is an email marketing tool. I currently use ConvertKit and love it. I was a MailChimp user for over 6 years. I still have a lot of clients on MailChimp. I love MailChimp. Constant Contact is how I got my start in email marketing. I don't typically refer it anymore. I only use it with clients who are already on it. But if you are the kind of person who needs to pick up the phone and talk to someone to get customer support, you can't beat Constant Contact. They are super helpful. They'll talk to you on the phone. They will walk you through setting up campaigns. So if you need your hand held a little more by the company that you're getting your email marketing service from, Constant Contact is a great way to go. If you are cool with chat and email support, I highly recommend MailChimp or ConvertKit. Or, if you're working with someone like me or someone who specializes in email marketing who can answer your questions, then those tools are great. So there are a lot of options there as well. And other than that, what you use to manage your marketing really depends on what you're doing for marketing. So of course, if you're doing video and stuff like that, there are certain tools that you can use for video marketing. But an analog tool that I recommend to almost every service provider I work with is Get Clients Now. It is a book I've had since about 2008. I've led Get Clients Now peer groups for about a decade now, and it's a really great book. You can use it over and over again at any stage of your business, and every time you use it, your plan will be different. So I encourage you to use it more than once. But Get Clients Now is all about creating a 28-day action plan to help you grow and get more business. You create a customized plan, so it's tailored to where you are and what you need to focus on. So you are given some options to choose from, like filling your funnel, following up, getting presentations, closing sales. And so you pick the area of business that you need to focus on and you build your plan around that. I always say it's a great book to use alone. It's better with a partner, and it's best with a group because you have other people to bounce things off of. So if that's a book you're interested in getting, find a friend or a colleague that you want to work through it with, or look for a Get Clients Now peer group. There are links on the website. You can also contact me and see if I'm running an upcoming group, but I really recommend that book for every service provider. Product-based business owners can get some value out of it too, but it's really tailored for service-based business owners. So that's marketing. Now, we've got our calendar, our CRM, our financial systems, our marketing systems. Last but not least on the list of 5 essential systems is project management and task management. And I save this for last because it's not that any one of these is more important than the other, but I save projects and tasks for last because it can connect everything. Your project management tool can be the dumping ground for your ideas, your goals, your brainstorms, your to-do list. But also as you are working on the back end of your business and putting systems in place and considering your options, whether they're some of the things that I threw out at you or other ideas you have in mind, your project management tool can help you keep track of all of that stuff. So I really encourage you to have a way of keeping track of projects and tasks. And if you're new to project management tools, create a project around organizing and systemizing your business and let that be your experimental project. So when it comes to projects and tasks, of course, the analog way is a to-do list. We're all familiar with to-do lists and checklists, so you can absolutely do it on paper. You can keep your to-do list or to-do lists and project plans in spreadsheets. A lot of people do that. That is way too time-consuming for me. I have no interest in that. Or you can get a project management tool. And the reason why I prefer having a project management tool is because a good tool allows you to set up reminders. So even if I don't remember to open the project management tool every day, I'm getting a reminder either via text or to my email or on my calendar that I need to do certain things. And my spreadsheet just can't do that for me. So I'm all about making it easy for me to know and remember what I need to do. I think one of the best when it comes to project management tools is Asana. And Asana is free. It's free for up to 15 users. They do have paid plans. I actually don't personally know anyone who has needed to upgrade. And you can use Asana by yourself, with your internal team, and with clients. When my clients don't have a project management tool of their own, I will add them to my Asana workspace and create a project that they have access to. Or if my clients do use Asana, they add me to their workspace. So I actually spend a lot of time in Asana on a day-to-day basis, and it just makes life very easy. My clients know what's due for them. I know what I need to do for them. I know what I need to do for myself. And so, as I mentioned earlier, I use a paper planner, but all of my major to-dos, my project ideas, my long-term goals are in Asana. And I transfer those to-dos and things I'm actively working on to my planner. It's a hybrid digital and analog system that works for me. I love to physically check things off. I love to write things down. I take notes in the margins. And so I'm never going to give up on notebooks and planners. But, the benefit of those digital tools is, again, having the reminders, having everything in one place. Eventually, you'll fill a planner, you'll fill a notebook. Or if water or coffee or, gets spilled on your notebook and that's where you have everything, you're out of luck. If, God forbid, your car gets broken into or your bag gets stolen, your notebook or planner is gone. So it's nice to have a backup in the cloud somewhere. I prefer Asana. A lot of my clients love Trello. Tools like Dubsado have tasks lists within them. It's not full-on project management, but you can add tasks related to your client jobs to Dubsado. There are tools like Insightly, which have CRM and project management functionality. There are tons of to-do list apps. So there are a lot of things to choose from. I really recommend that you try Asana. It's very versatile. Some people love it or hate it, which is the case with any system. But because it's free, it doesn't cost you anything to try it out. And there's a ton of room for growth, considering that you can use it with up to 15 people for free. So I highly recommend it. And as I teased a little bit earlier in the CRM section, some people do hack their project management systems to be content management systems. So you could absolutely set up a project and put all of your prospects in it or put all of your clients in it. I actually do have a task in Asana that has all of my active clients in it. And when I'm done with that client, I just check them off. And the main reason I do that is because I just at a glance like to see the list of active clients, but I don't do much in there with it. And I certainly don't manage prospects in Asana, but you absolutely could. And there's nothing wrong with it. The main reason I don't do that is because, as I mentioned, I use SalesMate, or even if I were using Dubsado. If I'm tracking a prospect, I want to be able very quickly, very easily to be able to email that client, reach out to that client. And I can't email my clients through Asana. I like to minimize what I call context switching. So if I'm managing my prospects in Asana and I want to reach out to them, I then have to switch to my email program, open up an email and write to that client, and then go back to Asana and check it off. But if I'm managing my prospects in something like Dubsado or SalesMate, I can email them right from in or within that system and manage any related activities to the client from that system. So you can absolutely use Asana to track prospects, and it's a great free way to do it. It's just not my preferred method, but that option is available. All right, so those are the 5 essential systems for every small business: calendar, contact management or CRM, financial systems, marketing systems, projects, and tasks. I rattled off some of my favorite systems and ones that I recommend to clients and colleagues practically on a daily basis. But as I mentioned, if you head over to the show notes page, you will find a list of these tools and a list to my best planners for small business owners post. So just head over to oneorganizedbusiness.com or alaiawilliams.com. Head over to the podcast page for show notes and you'll find all of that there. So I hope this was helpful. And again, just take it step by step. There are so many things that you can systemize in your business, but the core systems are the ones we just went over. Everything else branches out and connects from there. So start with these things, get your footing, and grow from there. And it doesn't really matter which one you start with. You can pick your biggest pain point or the one that you think will, help you get the most growth. The important thing is that you start somewhere and that you stick to your system when you get it. So give it time to work before you decide that it doesn't work and you switch to something else, because that's another thing I see all the time. People sign up for systems, decide they don't work, and they spend all of their time switching from system to system and nothing ever catches on and they make no progress. So whatever you decide to adopt, just fully commit to it. Give yourself 30 days or 60 days, whatever it is, but fully commit to it, give it a chance to work, and go from there. And if you love it, then you can move on to the next thing and fold something in. But take it step by step. Systems really are the foundation of your business. And if you automate the things you don't need to do manually, you free up your time to focus on important money-making tasks for your business. You free up time to not work on your business or in your business and just have free time. And all these things are humming in the background, working for you. So if you have questions about these or any other systems, feel free to reach out at any point. Just head to the contact page at alaiawilliams.com. Shoot me any comments or questions that you have. And I look forward to digging into these systems more in future episodes of the podcast. And I'm always open to feedback. So if there's any particular system you want to hear more about, whether it's one that I mentioned today or something that's not on this list, I'm open to that feedback as well. So I'm wishing you luck. Go out there and get some systems in place. That's it for this episode of the One Organized Business podcast. You can find show notes, business building resources, and links to past episodes at oneorganizedbusiness.com. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next episode.